Nest by Terry Goodkind, published in 2016. This book is about Kate Bishop. She is this security analyst of sorts who finds herself caught up in this murder investigation, thanks in part to this newly discovered supernatural ability that she has to identify killers by looking into their eyes and seeing their evil intent. Let's start with the positives, which is unfortunately harder for me to come up with than I would have liked. I will say that the premise, it has had potential. People with the ability to sense evil, yeah, that could work. It's intriguing. And there are these side discussions that piqued my interest as well, particularly the section dealing with the history of humanity. Its conclusion, it's a bit kooky, didn't think it followed necessarily, but the DNA stuff, I enjoyed that. I also did feel like the book got progressively better as things unfolded. By the second half, things were actually happening, sort of. Occasionally things happened, and I actually found the ending engaging. Lastly, as far as the positives, I didn't hate any of the characters. They're all fine in a bland, inoffensive sort of way. Sure, they're inconsistent, but that's better than being grating. I even kind of liked some of the relationships between the characters. Unfortunately, as I'm sure you already guessed, I had a lot of problems with this book. It's mechanical. Our characters, they don't act like real people. They don't talk or think like real people. Almost everything feels just incredibly artificial. The characters also talk way too much, which is bad enough with good dialogue. This is not that. I kept on waiting for something to happen, and waiting some more. Almost nothing happens in the first half of this book. It's all setup. We bounce from one unnecessarily drawn out conversation to the next, and the bit of excitement that was the novel's opening, it slowly fades from memory. Most of the book drags on. If a discussion happens, it's 4 times as long as it needs to be. If we need some sort of an info dump, it's even more excessive. There are very few things in Nest that don't wear out their welcome long before transitioning on to something else. And a lot just doesn't quite work. This isn't one of those mystery stories where as things are revealed, you keep on thinking to yourself, wow, how did I not see that coming? There were so many clues, because there are no clues. Interesting how our protagonist Kate is pitched as being this excellent problem solver, yet rarely figures anything out without having it spoon-fed to her. She basically goes from one location to the next, listening to others explain what's what. Didn't care for the film photography mumbo-jumbo with AJ either, or the nesting talk. What was all that about? Nothing about this supernatural ability makes sense, so stop trying to rationalize it. It's not something we need. And what's with the decisions that characters keep on making here? They seem more plot-driven than character-driven. When Kate finally does have this mini showdown in Nest, a moment where she's actually doing something, it feels very contrived. It takes place for very dumb reasons. And there are these later discussions concerning online security that felt like they were just here to educate readers. Things like that, they can work if they make sense for the story, but here they don't feel remotely natural. In conclusion, I don't recommend reading Nest, and I hate to say that, especially given how much I loved the Sword of Truth series growing up. Goodkind is one of the reasons that I'm such an avid reader today. Those books, I really connected with them. But the writing here, the flat characters, the logic that people used, the endless explanations, I had so many problems with this book. I don't know. Maybe my expectations are the problem here because most people seem to really like this one. Just look at these snippets from various outlets. A gripping ride, near perfect pacing. Did I miss something here, or are there others who agree with my critiques on Nest? I will say that in hindsight, I have noticed that my favorite books from many authors are the first ones I've read. Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn, J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit, both unsurprising, I guess. But the first John Scalzi novel I read was Fuzzy Nation, and after reading nearly all of his other books, it's still probably my favorite. I'm sure most would list Old Man's War as his best book, but I'm not one of those people. Anyway, that's all I've got. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and thanks for watching. Peace.